Hello, I am Ben here with Brian. A little bit of a quick Big Brother 28 update. We are here to talk about kind of the state of things with the three nominees on the block after the veto ceremony has ended. We do have Taylor and Yash staying on the block, and then Mallory took herself off and was replaced by Ashley. So Taylor, Yash, and Ashley are the three nominees that will be headed into eviction night. One of them obviously will win the blockbuster, and the other two will face a vote. Right now, we're kind of looking at like trying to figure out what that vote would look like in each of those scenarios. It's certainly not locked in at this point on the Tuesday night here. In fact, about 30 minutes ago from when we're recording this, it's looking like potentially we might be moving towards the vote flipping on Taylor when she would previously been probably the most safe of the three players. We had a conversation with both Melody and Mallory in the storage room, while simultaneously a conversation between Kamu and Drew in the gym, where each of those pairs was independently talking about how they might want to vote out Taylor. So not great for Taylor, who since the nomination and the veto meeting, especially since the veto meeting yesterday on Monday, she spent a lot of time kind of having these very quick individual one-on-ones with people where she's just kind of like having transactional conversations, like, trying to I wouldn't say extort. Extort's probably a little bit too extreme of a word, but like encourage people to give her a guarantee that they will keep her in any scenario on eviction night. And as is the case, most at least semi-capable Big Brother players, when faced with that ultimatum, are going to say, "Yeah, of course I'll keep you." That doesn't necessarily translate to actual votes. So.
Yeah, so one with the transactional type of interactions, it works a lot better when you have the upper hand and you're giving something to someone in the moment and then they'll pay you back rather than, hey, I have nothing to offer you, but can you do me the solid?
Yeah, and it did kind of work, at least temporarily. I think because people were already predisposed to keep her for various reasons, either because Ashley and Yash have both put in, I would say, less work up until today in terms of campaigning for themselves to stay. Pretty much the reason that Yash is on the block to begin with is he's been an extremely passive player for the first bit of the game here, which, unlike the last two seasons of Big Brother, probably would not have been that big of a deal. But this is like an extremely active cast, and we have an unusually capable first HOH who like is not going to just like get hamstrung into putting up their like tangential allies for no reason. So like if you just don't put in the effort with the HOH early enough in that scenario, you're just going to end up on the block, which is kind of what happened to all four of the nominees this week. Is I just didn't put the work in.
Yeah, we got that very funny segment on Sunday night's show of Mallory talking to Dee about everything and nothing at the same time, and Dee being upset by that. Would you say like these, I guess four include Mallory, but these players are generally the least active players on the cast, maybe outside of
Um,
Taylor?
Ashley for sure is very passive, or was very passive up until yesterday. Yash also pretty passive. And then Taylor, yeah, I would say up until like roughly yesterday, all three were pretty passive. I would say they were the top three most passive, but they were definitely in the conversation for like top five to seven most passive.
So I guess let's say that, let's go through the scenarios. Yash wins the blockbuster. Who do you think goes between Ashley and Taylor?
I think this is probably the biggest toss up right now. There are a lot of people who kind of see value in Ashley as like a number that can be picked up because she is kind of connected to nobody right now. She's had game conversations with people, but has not really solidified anything. Whereas Taylor is seen as, at the very least, tied in with Lala as a duo, tied in somewhat with Jason, who is kind of like trying in, to varied success at forming some kind of coalition around him. Like she's starting to be seen more so as like locked into that coalition. So this is kind of the reason that both of these conversations that just happened have started to move against Taylor, because people are basically seeing both Yash and Ashley as like closer to free agents that they could potentially pick up. Whereas if you're not inside of that Jason coalition, which includes him, Lala, Rome, and sort of Lyric to a degree, there's not really like a huge incentive to keep around Taylor because she is already kind of locked in with that group. So if you are a Kamu, if you are like a Melody or a Mallory who like they have relationships to Lyric, but like not too much beyond that, an Ashley or a Yash who might be more amenable to a building a new kind of group could be more useful. So right now, I think it's like a coin flip. I would have said earlier in the day or yesterday, I would have said Ashley was in more danger. Right now, I am leaning towards Taylor being probably in more danger, but it's still close. It's like a 60-40, I would say, at this point.
Right. So I guess you can kind of extrapolate if Taylor doesn't win, or I guess if Ashley wins the blockbuster, then Taylor would probably be the one to go over Yash and her.
Yeah, this is like kind of trickier because I think that I think a lot of the crossovers people are probably right now more inclined to keep Taylor in that scenario. People like at least like a Barrett or a Angela, maybe even a Devons. Like Drew is the main one who seems to be kind of on the idea of targeting Taylor of the three of them at this point. But I think that could definitely flip. I think Devons could probably get on board if the idea is pitched that like Taylor is like tied to Lala, because Devons doesn't really like Lala. There's roads here for this to kind of flip right now. I would say still probably Yash is the most likely to go at this moment, but like the wheels are turning for it to be possible for him to stay up against Taylor at the very least.
All right, and if it's Taylor winning the blockbuster, who do you think goes of those two? Yash, probably, right?
I think Yash definitely goes in that scenario. Yeah. It really kind of feels like if Yash stays in the Yash versus Ashley case, or in the Yash versus Taylor case, it would be more anti-Taylor than pro-Yash, and the pro-Yash arguments would just kind of be like the sprinkles on top of it. I don't know if there's really any momentum right now for Ashley to go over Yash. So that feels like the most locked in of the options right now. The movement about the vote that's happening currently, at least, it's still early. We're still like 48 hours plus out from the vote here, and things are very different now than they were 24 hours ago. So like there's still a lot of movement that can happen. By the time you're watching this, it might even be different. But yeah, right now a lot of the movement around the vote is like more movement anti-Taylor.
All right. Well, we will be back on Thursday live after the eviction episode. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on before we get out of here?
No, I'm enjoying the season. There's like I would say that like while there is some messiness on this cast, and while the structure of the house feels very locked down compared to the past two seasons, I would say that the average quality of gameplay of this cast is probably the highest that we've gotten in a number of years. So I'm excited kind of where this goes. I'm enjoying the feed so far. I thought the episodes have been really strong. So yeah, no real major complaints. I have like some minor complaints about, the time capsule vote. I think is dumb. I think that was dumb, but the only the vets were allowed to compete for HOH, stuff like that. But the cast is giving. The episodes have been fun. The feeds have been pretty entertaining so far. So yeah.
Okay, love to hear that. I'm enjoying it as well. Can't wait to see who gets voted off first on Thursday. And other than that, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow us on TikTok if you're watching there. And Ben, thanks for your time.